It's summertime, friends, and it's time for another travel talk. I'm Emily Kaufman, the travel mom, and I'm so excited that summer is upon us. And I have learned so much about wine from my friend Kim Stare Wallace with Dry Creek Vineyards. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Emily.
I want to tell you, I have truly enjoyed our travel talks because you've taught me so much about the basics of wine tasting, pairing wine with different things, how to make a fantastic Chenin Gris, and now we're going to learn about wines for summer. What makes a wine great for summer?
So I think, first of all, I chose two wines to focus on because I really do think they are the best selections for summer. And one is Sauvignon Blanc, that would be my white wine choice. And one is a Zinfandel, and that would be my red wine choice. So the reason why I feel like Sauvignon Blanc, and I just happen to have my glass here, and you know that I love to do my swirling, but Sauvignon Blanc is refreshing, it's crisp, it's vibrant, it's thirst quenching. And so what I look for in a white wine for summer is something that's going to be, it's going to be refreshing, it's going to feel light and flavorful on my palate and not heavy. So Sauvignon Blancs are very rarely aged in French oak, unlike, say, a Chardonnay. And I think that the reason why a Sauvignon Blanc would be better is that it just is lighter in general. Not to sacrifice any flavor. So I don't want people to think that light means not flavorful. Just the opposite, in fact. So with this Sauvignon Blanc, and this is our 2019 Sauvignon Blanc, what I love about it is the citrusy elements. It's got some lovely lemongrass, a little bit of maybe tangerine or mandarin orange aromatics. And again, refreshing and bright and lively on the palate. It would pair beautifully with lighter summer dishes, summer salads, maybe grilled chicken or grilled fish. But I definitely advise people to avoid a heavier white wine, AKA Chardonnay. And I think also the other recommendation is to make sure that the wine is chilled appropriately. So you don't need it to be ice cold because that will mute all of the delicate aromas. You do want it to be chilled, and you certainly don't want it to be warm.
Well, Kim, it's interesting that you say heavier wines. I was always a fan of Chardonnay until I discovered your Sauvignon Blancs, your Fumé Blanc, and your Chenin Blanc. And this, like you're saying, is light and crisp and just full of deliciousness that you can sit outside and sip, whether you're enjoying a meal or whether you just want to enjoy your backyard.
Exactly. There's almost a little bit of a tropical characteristic in this wine as well. And I think that it sort of exudes summertime. I mean, it's sort of a summer in the bottle, summertime in the bottle kind of feeling for me.
I have a confession. I got into this one quite a bit last night. Barbecues, summer, and red wine all go together. And this old Vine Zinfandel of yours is outstanding. First, can you explain a little bit about what makes an old Vine Zinfandel different than a standard Zinfandel?
Absolutely. So first of all, there's no legal definition for old vines, if you can imagine. However, at our winery, a vineyard has to be at least 50 years or older to be considered old. This particular bottling, the vines are well over 100 years old, and the oldest vineyard was planted in 1896. So when we say old, we really mean old. And these are Zinfandel vines that were planted here in Dry Creek Valley in Sonoma County in the late 1800s by the Italians. So Zinfandel has its origins in Europe, but is truly considered America's heritage varietal. There's nowhere else in the world where Zinfandel is grown and produced. So it's really kind of an all-American red wine, if you will. So the other thing about this particular wine, that's unique in that because these are vineyards that were planted, 100 plus years ago, they're all dry farmed, which means we have no irrigation. And they're head pruned. And that's a particular type of pruning method where the vines grow into a beautiful goblet shape. So they're sort of short to the ground, maybe 2 or 3 feet tall. And the vines just grow over like this instead of on a trellising wire, as would be considered in a more modern vineyard. So there's just a real historic nature to these vines, and this is one of my favorite Zinfandels that we produce. It is quite bold and rich, but it has that fabulous spicy component. So coriander and cardamom spice, and maybe a little allspice or nutmeg spice, and maybe a little white pepper. And it has that bright acidity that we are known for here. And one of the reasons why Zinfandel is really the quintessential red wine for barbecue is because of the spiciness of the varietal and the fruit tones, which lean more towards blackberry and boysenberry and raspberry. And it's just so beautiful with barbecue. Now, one thing I always advise is to look for a Zinfandel that's not high in alcohol. So when you look at the label, you want to just check it out, and something in the, around 14.5% alcohol, maybe a little less or a little bit more, but really under 15% alcohol is important, especially when choosing this a red wine in the summertime. And the reason why is the alcohol is amplified during the summer months. If your wine is warm, okay, and it's a hot summer day, and it tends to be a more highly alcoholic red wine, it's going to appear even more alcoholic, which feels, from a sensory perspective, as a warmth in your nose. It's almost like a heat, and it can be a heat or a hot feeling on your palate, which really isn't very pleasant on a hot summer day. So I like to look for Zinfandels that are really well balanced with good acidity, moderate alcohol, lovely spice tones, just like our Old Vine Zinfandel.
Well, whether you're looking for crisp and refreshing or flavorful red, these are two of my favorite choices for summer, and I thank you for recommending them. If people are interested in learning more about Dry Creek or ordering, where can they find information?
Absolutely. Right on our website, drycreekvineyard.com, there's a wealth of information. And of course, all of our wines are listed for purchase. And we also have a retail store locator on our website now that people can find out where their wines are sold near them.
Kim, thank you for continuing to teach me so much about wine. I've really enjoyed our travel talks and look forward to the next one. Happy summer.
Happy summer. Cheers.
Cheers, Kim.